Well, hello everyone. My name is Jake and this is my channel Wishlist. I had a recent request from a viewer to do an update on my Discus, and I am at 6 months since I got these guys, so it is a great time to show you how everything is going, tell you a little bit about what I have learned and what I would do differently. I've only had Discus this is the first time once in my life, and so I have learned a lot. It's been a great experience. I started with 20 Discus. I currently only have 14, so that kind of gives you a little foreshadowing of some of the things, but it wasn't anything huge that I lost 6 of them. It was just kind of like a pecking order, and some of them just never really seemed to thrive. They were just kind of runts. They never really ate. They just kind of hung out. I tried a few different things. I tried moving them to different tanks. I tried putting them places where they could eat, things like that, and it just, nothing I did could get them to thrive. I also tried medication, but just some of them died, and that's kind of what I expected. I kind of thought it would be like maybe 2 or 3, not 6, but it is what it is. I knew that it would happen eventually. Some of them have also kind of outgrown the other ones. You'll notice that some of them are definitely bigger than others. There's also kind of a question in my mind, and maybe people that have owned Discus for a long time can answer this, but just about the shape of the Discus. You know, I was kind of hoping for really round Discus. There's kind of something about the pointed nose that is evidence that they may actually be stunted a little bit, and they were kind of like that when I got them, and I'm thinking that either that's going to go away with time, lots of feeding and things like that, but I'm not 100% sure. They may just be that shape. It may not actually be stunting. It's possible that it's just genetics. I'm not really sure. I'd love to hear your opinions on that. If anybody has strong opinions or a lot of knowledge about Discus and their shapes. I'm hoping with time, though, that it will change. I have noticed that the ones, especially the ones that are growing faster, they definitely look better than they did when I first got them. I think in the future, the next time I buy Discus, I would like to see what the parents look like before I spend all the money on the Discus, just to kind of see for myself if it's a shape thing that's related to genetics or if it's related to stunting. It would just kind of clear that up for me. But since I never really got to see the parents, I'm not really sure if it's a genetic thing or a feeding thing. So I feed them 3 times a day at least, usually more like 4 or 5. I have an auto feeder that sits on the top of the tank that does that for me since I'm not home during the day. It feeds them for me. As far as what they eat, I use an assortment of pellets and flakes and frozen foods. I also make a freeze-dried food. I would love to show you guys how I do that. I'm not sure if anybody would be interested in seeing that. If you are interested in seeing how I make my freeze-dried food, I would love to hear from you down in the comments section, but I'll give you just a little overview of it. But I actually do give them beef heart. I know that's kind of a little controversial as far as Discus are concerned, whether or not you should feed them beef heart. My understanding of it is that it all has to do with the fat. They just can't process animal fat, and if they get animal fat, it sits in their gut and it hurts their livers, and they eventually waste away and die, have a premature death. It will still make them grow quicker, but it just kind of hurts them in the long run. So what I do is I get real beef heart. I mean, just go to a butcher. I went to a butcher, I got beef heart, removed all of the fat from it, and then I freeze dried it and mixed it with a few other goodies and things that are good for the fish in the long run, and freeze dried it and crushed it up, and that's what I give to them. So that's what they're eating. I think it is working. They definitely have grown quite a bit since I got them. I also added this UV filter after I set up the tank, just to kind of help make sure that the water is pristine. The tests that I run on this tank show that there are absolutely no nitrates in it. It is very clean water. I did a fish room tour with a friend of mine who took me up on my word on that and decided to drink the water, which was a little gross, but it was funny. Love Brian. He's a good guy. Go check out that video. It was fun. It's my longest video, but definitely a fun conversation with him. So yeah, very clean water, lots of feeding. The filtration on the tank is still using the Oazi Biomaster filter. I don't I say gravel vac, there's nothing on the bottom of this tank. I don't vacuum the bottom of the tank. I kind of just rely on the filter to suck things up. Some things kind of collect there, but I have a wave maker at the top that kind of helps suck things up, and I get very little accumulation, not to mention this bristlenose pleco that does a little bit of cleaning for me as far as algae is concerned off of the glass. I was a little bit worried that it wouldn't do well in the temperatures that these guys live in, but it seems to be doing just fine, and so I'm happy with that because he kind of helps clean up any extra food particles. Also, I have an automatic water change system on this tank every day. It does a 30% water change all on its own. That's what those pipes are that are sticking down right there. And when it does that, it usually kicks up a little bit of that detritus on the bottom of the tank, which then gets sucked into the filter, which doesn't turn off during the water change. So kind of helps agitate things a little bit and keep the tank clean. I keep the tank at 86 degrees Fahrenheit, 87, somewhere in there. A little warm for Discus. They can go a little bit warmer, but I'm not planning on doing that long term. I'm just doing that in the meantime just to kind of help with their growth rate. And then when they get full grown, I'll probably turn that temperature down a little bit. But they are very friendly, much more friendly than I expected. When I put my hands in the tank to feed them, they will, if I feed them frozen foods and I just kind of let it thaw, they'll come up and they'll eat right out of my hands, sometimes sitting in my hands to do it, which is really fun. Not what I expected with Discus. I feel like they have a reputation for being a shy fish. Mine are definitely not shy at all, with the exception of maybe the runts when I had them. Not noticing many runts anymore. Maybe one that seems to be a little bit more shy, so I'm kind of watching him carefully. As far as plans for the future on this tank, I would like to not have it be a completely bare tank like this. I have been looking high and low for some kind of root structure or something to put in there just to give them something to swim in and out of and around. I haven't been able to find one. I have one in another tank that I think I may take out of there and put in here because it would just be absolutely perfect. So we'll see how that goes. I also would like to add tank mates for these guys eventually. I'm just letting them grow out, not only the Discus, but also the tank mates that I plan on adding. I have some F1 Pterophyllum sclerae angelfish that I think will be beautiful in here and do really well with them, but they're both small, and so I think it's just better to let everybody get to their full size. That way I can kind of make decisions from there, also depending on the size of the fish, and I don't want to overstock the tank too much. So we'll see how that goes. I do think they would make great tank mates. Maybe at that time I'll see if I have some runts and some non-runts and then make some decisions from there. But overall, this has been a wonderful experience. If you are a hopeful, Discus hopeful, and you want to keep some Discus, I'll say that as far as the rumors about Discus, are they hard? Are they easy? They are all of it. They are not as hard as you think, but I do think that you have to take some things into consideration. You can't just go to your local fish store, grab and bring them home without thinking about it. I think that you really need to put some thought into it, but if you do the research and you learn as much as you can about them and you set up an environment that is perfect for these fish, I think you're going to do just fine. And that's kind of what I have done. Like I said, mixed results, some failures, but I don't necessarily feel bad about those. I don't think there was much I could have done. I did everything I could. I think that was just a natural process. But if you're thinking about doing Discus, just do your homework, watch lots of videos like I did, and take the plunge, because they are very beautiful and also very friendly fish. They're just everything that you want in a beautiful cichlid. So just jump on that. But thanks so much for watching. Hope this was enjoyable for each one of you, and I will see you all in the next one. Fish List out.